Okay, so someone wrote on my Tumblr that, wrote in my ask box that one of the posts I made me sound like I was retarded. So that pissed me off for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's extremely insulting and just wrong thing to say and call somebody. And two, it's an extremely outdated term that should not be used. So from kidshealth.org, this is how they describe mental retardation. Mental retardation is a term that was once commonly used to describe someone who learns and develops more slowly than other kids, but is not used as much anymore because it hurts people's feelings. Instead, you might hear terms like intellectual disability or developmental delay, but all these words mean basically the same thing. Someone who has this kind of problem will have trouble learning and functioning in everyday life. This person can be 10 years old, but might not talk or write as well as a typical 10-year-old. He or she is also usually slower to learn other skills like how to get dressed or how to act around other people. But having an intellectual disability doesn't mean a person can't learn. Ask anyone who knows and loves a person with an intellectual disability. Some kids with autism, Down syndrome, or cerebral palsy may be described as having an intellectual disability, yet they often have a great capacity to learn and become quite capable kids. So, according to this website, people with mental retardation are what's actually now diagnosed as separate diseases. Those are, I think, the three main ones. Can function perfectly normal compared to the rest of kids, or at least intellectually they can. And so, just to point out some people who have. So, autism. And I don't know how you've heard of Temple Grandin, but she is a girl who was born with autism back when they did not know much about autism. She went to all normal schools and grew up to be a scientist who studied the topic of farming and animal care, basically. So she, a girl with autism, who didn't even get special treatment for her autism, grew up to be the woman who designed the most humane slaughterhouse setup that has been used in the majority of slaughterhouses in the United States right now. And I think that's impressive. I'm vegetarian. But she made it the most humane and the easiest to use and the best just for the animals and for the people. Now, cerebral palsy. Christopher Nolan. He is an Irish literary figure who was born with cerebral palsy, has never said a single word or signed a word, and yet he's just published 3 acclaimed books, and his first one was published when he was only 15. He uses a stick basically on his head to type the words in, and I've read some of his poems and they're brilliant. And lastly, Down syndrome. There's this woman named Jane Cameron who, she had artwork, poetry, and she was in the Special Olympics. That's impressive that you can do all 3 of those things. And lastly, I just want to say is, even people who would once have been fit under the terms of mental retardation, they don't deserve to be made fun of. And there's a girl in my school with Down syndrome, and I've only talked to her once because I don't have any gossip with her, but she seems like a really sweet girl. And one of my friends is in a class with her, and a couple other kids. This one boy makes fun of her the whole period, saying extremely disgusting and revolting things that I don't even want to repeat, so I won't. And everyone laughed and no one stood up for her. And that's just terrible. And by letting these words continue, that's going to keep happening. And that's why you can't call people retarded, because it's disgusting and vile, basically. So just please, if you're going to use that word, think again before you do it.